From the You Hear Good Things Podcast Network, here is Running in Slow Motion with Sidney and Tamra Smith.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Running in Slow Motion. I am Sidney Smith, sitting here with my wife and my co-host,
Tamra Smith.
What's up, wife?
Not much. Just woke up from a deep hibernation.
Well, thank you for kicking this part of the conversation up, because that was going to be the first thing I was going to say is, damn, it's hot in Phoenix for the 4th of July. I forgot how hot it is, because how many years had we been getting out of town now?
6. I think my time hop popped up the other day, like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, and we did not go out of town this year because there just wasn't anything happening up there for the 4th, and probably wouldn't be anyone kind of hanging out. We like to go up and see everybody at once, so we decided to stay here. And man,
we should have still went.
Well, I think we decided that no matter what's going on, we will be leaving Phoenix for the 4th of July going forward, because it is just too hot to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, I think I just slept for a whole day and a half.
We went over to friends of ours, Dave and Jamie's, and we had a good time because a lot of our friends were there, and there was a lot of food and a lot of fun, a lot of conversation. They had some family in, and they had some things happening the next day. So they started the barbecue event at 1:00, which is extremely hot. They did their best though. They had some misters going out in the back, and he put covering up and all that in the backyard. But no one wanted to be outside. Everyone still was inside the house. So I don't know anywhere from 40 to 50 people, how many people it was, kids running around, everyone inside the house. Good size house, but it's just a lot of people, and it was just hot.
Yeah,
and I think it kicked our ass. We slept the entire day pretty much the next day.
I didn't even drink. I had half of a beverage and gave the rest to you, because as I was drinking it, I was like, this is going to make me too hot. And so I didn't drink.
I did not have much to drink at all. But by the time we got home, and we went across to the neighbors, and then you came home and relaxed, and then I came home. By the time I got back from the neighbors, I kind of had a headache going.
Yeah, I had a headache too.
And I hit up some Zip Fizz, which I highly recommend. They are not a sponsor at all. Maybe one day they will be, and they'll give me money for recommending them. I highly, highly recommend. I'm a big fan of Zip Fizz, especially if you've had a couple of drinks or if you're just not feeling that great. I normally pop one of those in a bottle of water and drink it and go to bed, and I wake up and I feel fine.
To me, it's like the equivalent of a Red Bull.
You said that before.
But it's like a lot of vitamins, though. A lot of vitamin B.
Yeah. That's what it is. I don't know the other things that are in it, how it compares to a Red Bull, but that's what you said before. I'm
going to have to search that and do some research and see. But I also took advantage of the last 2 days just because I know while we're still in July, I officially go back to work July 31st, but I start going in probably this week to start, working on my classroom and unpacking things. And so I just let myself sleep, and I slept.
Shout out to everybody who's listening to us right now. Again, we just dropped one about a week ago because we're back trying to get back on our regular schedule. So thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Don't forget to go ahead and give us a nice review and share it with some friends. And then if you hate us, share it with some people you hate. So either way, we would appreciate it. Well, yeah, you got a lot of relaxation in. So you slept pretty good. I was a little worried about you yesterday. You slept so much.
I slept till I think almost 4:00.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. When you sleep like that, and it's not very often, my mind, and I did this yesterday, and I actually did ask you, my mind kind of drifts into this thought of, is she depressed? Is she sleeping because she's depressed about something and she's not sharing it with me? Is she sleeping because she's tired? What is it? Because I know for some people, when they get into that state of depression, they just can't seem to get out of bed. They don't want to do anything. They just sleep. And so that was something I wanted to make sure that, and it's easy for me to say, well, what could she be depressed about? Summer vacation. She's had a pretty relaxing one this year for the most part, but you never know what's going on with someone. So I did actually ask you yesterday, just to make sure you were doing all right.
You did. I don't feel depressed. I will say that. I just felt really tired. but while it was sleeping, my brain was actually really busy. I'm not going to really talk about what it's about, but I was having just some very like subconscious dreams about a decision I recently made. And so maybe part of that was like weighing on me, but I don't feel depressed. I just felt like, man, I just need a good sleep. Like, I feel like I get up every day with the dogs and I never let myself sleep in, like I'm always up early and then I go to bed at 8:00. And it kind of felt nice yesterday just to rest. And then we stayed up all evening. I think it was almost 1:00 in the morning when we finally went to sleep and watched a show that we've gotten sucked into, which we need to talk about this show because it's driving me nuts.
We do, but I want to stay on this for a hot second.
Okay.
I do want to come back to that though, because that was on my mental list of what to talk about and to bash some friends. So I'm glad that you aren't feeling that way, because I feel like this is for men and women when you're in a relationship, that you have to be very careful that past shit doesn't affect present day. Because a lot of times if you're not careful, and a lot of us are not, a lot of us aren't even aware of it until we get old enough to be wise enough to understand that this is even happening. Sometimes what's happening in front of you at that moment is not what you actually see. You're actually just feeling something from years ago. I'll put it this way. When I was a small kid, I got bit by a neighborhood dog. Now, I'm a guy who loved dogs. I love dogs now. But I got bit by this dog. If you've ever been bit by a dog, then you know it takes you a while to get over that. Because after that, every dog you get that comes towards you, you think this dog is going to bite you. And you just have to get over that past hurt or pain or whatever that memory is. And I think it's the same thing when you're an adult and you're in a relationship. If you had someone who used to stay out all night and do these different things, and you find out, whatever you found out, that this was just not the right type of relationship, you can be in a relationship with someone today, and maybe you see something that will harken your memory back to that past hurt or that past pain, when what you're seeing today has nothing to do with that. And so what I just said probably sounds a little convoluted to some of you out there, but that was just something I was definitely experiencing watching you yesterday. Just sleep like you slept, because it was a lot of sleep for you.
Yeah. I mean, although if you think back to when we first got together, like at the end of the year, because I'm a 10-month employee, so I work my 10 months, and in the summer I generally either do a bunch of training or I teach summer school or I sleep. And I remember that first summer you came here when you moved back, and we slept a lot. And I did that every year. I would give myself about a week. I would give myself a week to just sleep as much as I wanted to, because my biggest complaint while I'm working throughout the year is like, I don't get enough sleep. Like I'm always feeling tired. And so like in the summertime, I'm like, okay, I give myself a week or so just to sleep as much as I want to. And I haven't done that this year because I went right back into training. We moved all of my classroom stuff. I went to California, helped Mama Gail. So it's been like go, 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 go. And then I think just, being in the heat the other day and just being out, like I just felt tired. I felt so tired. And but it was like every time I woke up, I felt like, gosh, I just wasn't ready to wake up. So. Well,
it was definitely, and that was something that I thought about as well, because I was getting a little bit of rest my damn self. Not nearly as much as you, but, quite a bit for me. And it was just something I kept thinking about. I was like, my God, that heat must have really kicked our ass. Even though we weren't just standing in the sun. I don't know how it happened, but it did. But we were just I think exhausted for a lot of it because of the activity on the 4th. I mean, we were there for quite some time at the barbecue. But anyway, that was just something I wanted to share with you and with our listeners.
Yeah, but I appreciate you. You even checked in on me, and the funny thing is I easily could have slept all the way till 4:00, but you woke me up. Like, I think you just know me and you know, like, how I don't do well when I skip meals. You like woke me up like 10 minutes before 12 and you're like, I'm cooking us a late breakfast. I'm going to have you get up and eat. And so I got up and ate with you. And then I went right back to sleep for another few hours. So I appreciated that you respected my need for sleep, and you still took care of me. Because any other day I'm up. I mean, I get up with the dogs, 4:45, 5:00 in the morning, and I'm up with them all morning. And then I go about my day, and maybe I'll take a nap, maybe I won't. And then I go to bed early, but it just felt nice to sleep.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I feel like our summer schedule has been a little off, not just because we didn't go up for flag, but I feel like before we go up for flag, we're really grinding out on different things. Work-wise, you grind it out on whatever you feel like you need to do over the summer. I'm grinding out on my shit because normally the 4th of July is our only vacation we take on a regular basis every year. And then we get away for a few days, and then we come back and we hit the ground again. And I feel like we've been a little off with that this year.
Yeah.
Probably because we did not have a trip scheduled for the 4th. And so maybe that's kind of throwing me into a little bit of a loop, watching you and everything. And I normally do try to keep an eye on you just to make sure you are mentally and emotionally doing okay and whatnot. So again, yesterday was just one of those days for me. I said, well, let me check in and make sure she's doing okay, because you don't always like to tell me what's going on until the last minute sometimes.
I tell you, I did spend today thinking, and we'll have to keep this in mind because. So just to preface this, we live in a part of town where there's a lot of snowbirds, and the snowbirds are all gone right now, and they come back like October, November, and then they leave like April, May, and I'm thinking like, how do we live a modified version of that? Like, I can't leave until the end of May and I have to be back by August, but like, we need to figure out how we can be gone from like Labor Day till the end of July.
And I just come back into town when I need to do shows.
Yeah, like how do we just need to figure out, we need to situate ourselves so we can be gone for
all right, we can work on that.
2 months. Because it's hot. I don't even want to go outside and play with a dog. And I'm usually out there throwing the ball for her. And
well, what's weird is I stepped out back with them today, and I've never been more thankful to have a beautiful patio that's almost fully covered. I just stood out there, and it's still hot, but the sun's not sitting on top of me. But I'm just like, I don't know how people are doing this.
We should go out and turn the misters on.
We can turn them on and see how it goes because we did not do the maintenance on them this year.
We did not.
We did not take those nozzles off and clean them up. So we can turn them on and see what happens.
I'm not going to stand under them until after they're running a few minutes.
Yeah, let's see if it's actually misting or just shooting all over the fucking place.
Yeah, because usually every year you take the nozzles off and you soak them in vinegar and all of that, but we haven't done that in a couple of years, like 2 years maybe.
I got a damn patio umbrella I haven't pulled out the box, and I had every intention of getting that done.
But the problem is, every time I go out there, I'm like, what the hell is an umbrella gonna do? We have a fully covered patio. It's still going to be hot.
It's not about what it's going to do. It's about I wanted to have that done this year just to have it done. And just every time I went to do it, something else would pop up. And I was like, all right, I'll get to it. And the fucking heat was here faster than it's been here that I can remember this year. I think the summer heat hit a little bit earlier than it normally does.
I think it's the fact that we need like 200 pounds of sand to go in that umbrella that neither of us wants to deal with.
Well, I'm not looking forward to dealing with that sand for the base of it, but it's a nice umbrella, and I got it at a great deal. So I want to put this thing together and put it up. I wanted to touch on something else before we get to that damn TV show. And this is something you didn't know I was going to talk about.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. That makes me nervous. Should I be nervous?
No.
Okay.
I recently found out something from you.
Oh.
And
you did?
Yeah, and I'm bringing it up because I'm thinking that other spouses have gone through this,
yeah,
as well, in terms of And I know I have friends who went through this, where someone proposes, the other person says yes, and everyone's happy, except for one or two people somewhere, somehow, for some fucking reason. And I'm not going to mention this woman's name, but you had a friend years ago who I didn't realize it. I thought she just dropped out the fucking wedding because she had a dispute with with the other bridesmaids about what they were going to do in terms of for your bachelorette party and so on and so forth. You know, there were some things. You had a pretty nice
group of women
who planned some nice things for you. This one individual took some type of offense or had some problem with the amount of money that was being spent, is how I understood it. Mm-hmm. And then she just seemed to have went away. In my mind, since we've been married for how long now?
6 years.
That has always been what I said. That's just odd that this woman would just fall off and out just because over this. And then you told me that there was a conversation where she didn't completely agree with you marrying me. And this just happened a few days ago. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I guess you've always said this, and I was actually interested that you kind of you seemed a little offended by it.
By which part?
Just that I didn't tell you.
Okay.
But you have always said that, as people, we're entitled to our own secrets. And I do generally tell you everything.
I said privacy, but go ahead.
Okay, privacy.
Don't take my words.
Okay, not secrets.
I said privacy.
Well, yes, she had this conversation with me, and she had a list of reasons. I don't know if are we going to share all of that? I just want to ask before I start talking, what the reasons were.
The reason was because at the time, when you and I first started seeing each other initially, years before we got engaged, I didn't want to have kids. You did. And then when we got back together, I agreed that I would, if that's what you wanted to do. And she did not think that we would. Yeah,
she felt that by marrying you, that I was putting off my dream of having a family. And she just didn't know if I should be marrying you. And I kindly objected to that because I think for her, when I said family, she thought maybe I wanted a bunch of kids. And you and I have never really talked about this on the podcast. Maybe this is a whole different show, but when I was younger, I really wanted to have children.
Yep.
And then as I got older,
it was a big thing for you when we first got together.
Yeah, when I was 25, but as I got older and I matured, I think I wanted to have children for the wrong reason.
100%, I agree with that.
So as I got older and I matured, I decided I wasn't really sure that I wanted to have children. And so it was kind of always well, if we decide together, we'll do it. If not, I'm okay, kind of thing. And but for her, she just, I think it was more, I think the reason I didn't tell you is because maybe it felt more like a projection of maybe there was something missing in her life that she was projecting onto me. I was going to be miserable without having kids, and it was going to I don't know, it just felt like that kind of situation. And I think that's why I didn't bring it to you. But if she was really saying something really negative about you or things like that, I probably would have came to tell you. But I don't know that she really knew me fully and how I felt about it. And I wasn't completely sure how I felt about it because I kind of went back. I was teeter-tottering, I do, but I don't because, I had all these reasons.
Well, I can tell you kind of what went through my head when you first told me. First, I was pissed. And I wish I could see that woman today. So that was my first, but that's my nature. I'm confrontational. That was normally my first way I'm going to go about something. The other thing I thought about was I had tried to make the proposal for you very special and have everyone there that I thought, would be supportive, that I knew loved you, and so on and so forth. And that was my other thing. This bitch was at the damn proposal, and you would go back behind all of that and have these thoughts or have these feelings or share this or share that So that was the other thing. The other part of me was like, well, why didn't Tamra tell me? And was it, and not that you have to tell me every damn thing that's happening. I don't believe that you do, and nor that you have to. But this in particular, I was just like, why didn't she tell me? And were you worried that I was going to go after this woman in some type of way and have words with her or what? So that was kind of where my head was at initially over the first couple of days after. And I don't know what made you tell me at this point. You can speak to that, but I was like, why was she telling me
I don't remember what we were talking about.
We've talked about a million fucking different things. And this has never come up. This has never, ever, ever, ever come up. And I was just surprised that you even shared it at this point.
I think it's because with that particular situation, it didn't feel valid to me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like a valid concern. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that if somebody had come to me with a valid concern, like fully knowing me and fully knowing you, like I don't share all of my thoughts and feelings with other people. Like, I'm actually pretty private about things. Mm-hmm. And so I think because I felt like she was making assumptions, mm-hmm. it didn't feel like significant to me.
Got you. I'm glad that you did tell me that, because again, I've never heard, and doesn't mean that it's never happened. Millions of people get married every fucking year on this planet. I've just never heard of a person pulling themselves out of a wedding of a friend, of someone who's supposed to be a close friend. Yeah. Someone close enough that you got invited to be part of the wedding party. Yeah. And for you to pull yourself out and to not even show up to the wedding or attempt to show up to the wedding or have any real reason why.
Oh, no, she declined. She messaged and declined.
I'm saying but that's what I'm saying, to decline from coming to the wedding at all.
Oh yeah, no, she just declined to be part of be a bridesmaid.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, and then not to come to the wedding and whatever. Anyway, it all was just weird to me, and I was like, I can't believe all that happened because she didn't agree with them. I don't know if it was the trip to Vegas or if it was whatever's happening. I don't remember what it was, but for her to have a problem with
it was the planning of the bridal shower, and I think at the time she was going to host it in her backyard, and she was just going to do something very simple, and the other bridesmaid wanted to do all these other things like games and flowers and all of these things, and the comment that was made was, well, if something along the lines of, I really don't think Tamra would care about this stuff. She's not about money. And if she is, then I don't really know her. It was like in the text message. And I think that kind of, and then she didn't realize that I was in the group text. Yeah. So then I think like she was upset about that. I think it was just the whole thing.
I'm this is someone's, like, for me, when we talked to,
I actually remember why we were talking about this, because we were talking about the fact that how I've evolved with having girlfriends throughout the years.
Yes, that is it.
And I had said to you, because before you, I only had male friends, even all through high school. I had maybe one girlfriend, but I didn't hang out with her all the time. Like, I always had guy friends. And so we were talking about the conversation of just why I never had girlfriends and how it took me maturing as a woman to be able to have healthy relationships with women, because you know, sometimes there's competition and jealousy and all of these things, and that's where that story came up. And that was one of those times where I had to evolve. Like, it was a situation where I felt like something maybe she went through or was going through was being projected on me, and how she felt about certain things was being projected on me, and it just didn't fit. So
I know the mandate that I gave to the ladies was to, you guys make this the best thing ever for her. And that was something I said. And at the time, the people who were in your life at that time, especially your maid of honor, you know, she and I were close as well. So she was like, all right, we're going all out. And so when we talk about our wedding, I always bring up the fact that you didn't want to do a big wedding. And I bring it up only because you just wanted to go and be on the beach or go wherever, just me, you, and 2 other people. And at the time, in your mind, that's something that would have been okay with. Now, you argue with me on this, I know, to a certain extent, and I'll argue back. You, as well as everyone else here, you know yourself normally better than anyone else knows you because you've been part of you for your entire fucking life. But I do think if someone's spouse, hopefully, gets to know you, they know you pretty fucking well too. And the thing with you has always been, you want attention to a certain extent, but you hate it at the same time because you're afraid of it. And that is where I was at with you with your wedding. Yeah. That's where I was at with you for your 40th fucking birthday as well. Once you get into something where all eyes are on you, you're okay. You're fine. You understand people just want to be here. They just want to love on you. And you have a great time with it. It happened with the wedding and it happened with that damn birthday party. And I keep saying that damn birthday party because you were so, I know, upset with me initially when you saw those people. And at the end of the night, you fucking had a great fucking time. But
to be fair, also, I am fine because that's what's expected of me.
What you mean?
Like, when big things happen or we go out and do things that are like, that I know that I don't really enjoy or that embarrass me or make me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to seem like I'm fine because that's what's expected of me. And I generally do what's expected of me because I don't want to disappoint people. And so what was I going to say? This is bullshit. Everybody get out of my house. I don't want you here. Like, I mean, I love being around the people, but also you see me afterwards. Like, I'm so exhausted and I sleep a lot and I don't know. I'm working through that though. I get better throughout the years, but it's still kind of hard for me when there are big things that happen.
I didn't say it wasn't difficult for you.
I know. But I'm fine when it happens.
I know you are. And that's my point. You're fine with it when it's happening. But to ask you or to have you plan it or be a part of the planning, I've been through this. It's a headache fucking for me. Because I think at times you don't think you deserve it. And go ahead.
I don't think it's that. It's not that I don't enjoy people. I don't enjoy them all at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, I prefer when I go and do small individual things with my friends. Like, I do enjoy, like, my girls' trips where there's, like, 4 or 5 of us. But I get to really focus. I can focus on what we're talking about and what we're doing. But when there's so many people and I'm trying to attend to them and listen to them, I feel so disconnected, I guess. Like, I'm just half in conversations and half in participating in things, because then I'm also now looking around, like, anything need to be done around the house and that kind of stuff, like, stresses me out. But I really do enjoy, like when Shauna and I go kayaking and it's just the 2 of us and we can have conversations.
That's most obvious that you enjoy those things. Yes. Yeah. So don't worry when you turn 50, it'll just be you and the dogs. That's my gift. That'll be my birthday gift to you.
I would say, like, maybe a vacation somewhere where it's like...
I would say not listen to you, because the first thing you said to me after we said I do, you turned to all those people.
I always say the beach, but we haven't ended up at the beach yet.
The first thing you said to me, you turned around and saw all those people sitting there at our wedding. Do you want me to say it, or would you like to say what you said to me?
I'm glad that we did this.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, I mean, I listen to you all the time. You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go. You don't do anything you don't want to do. We've done 2 things for you specifically. And that was that wedding, and that was our 40th birthday party.
And they were both very nice.
But my point I wanted to make was she didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. And the mandate that I gave was this is going to be a huge thing for Tamra. Make her feel like a fucking princess as best you can, so on and so forth. That was the fucking mandate. Yeah. It wasn't that we're going to throw a fucking cheap-ass backyard barbecue in my backyard that we could do on any given Saturday.
Yeah. I get it. But that was the reason that whole thing fell apart. It was like a combination of quite a few things.
I see, because I always think that people sometimes want, and I think you kind of touched on this, they want to put their own imprint on someone else's function.
Yeah.
This is how I would do it. This is what I think. This is what I, and it's a lot of I's in there.
And that situation was more like, this is what I think Tamra would want, but I guess I didn't really know what I would want, but what they were talking about wasn't it.
What was it? What wasn't it?
Just the tables and
in the backyard?
Yeah.
So, no, that wasn't it. And you had a great fucking time with what they ended up putting together.
Yeah.
I think about Billy. His birthday came up, and we're like, okay. And he's much like you, very low key. He's not going to ask anyone to do anything. But we're going through. Me and the fellas are going through in a text message about what to do for him, and I'm just like, can we just ask Billy? Because I don't think anything we are thinking. This doesn't seem like stuff that he would want to do. Mm-hmm. So let's just ask him what it is he wanted to do. And all he wanted to do was come over here to the house, play some cards, have some drinks, go out, have something to eat, go play pool, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that's and that's what we did. Mm-hmm. Instead of just guessing, just
ask people
and just assuming whatever.
I mean, and I'm always, going back to the talking about, having girlfriends and healthy relationships, I'm always open to having girlfriends, but I'm not like a high maintenance person, and I'm not going to be like texting all the time. And we've talked about this before, like it's just who I am. And so I'm also okay when people just grow and, go their separate ways too. There has been like one relationship that was hard for me.
A couple. There's been a couple.
Mostly one I can think of.
Well, I would say one with a female.
Yeah.
Yeah, one with a female.
Yeah.
I won't say there's been a couple relationships, but yeah, you're right. One with a female. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So that's kind of how, and you do take me back to that conversation we were having, because I was commenting on watching you from a distance, and I want everyone on here to hear the conversation we're having, and it's an honest one, and we go back and forth on this, and we will always go back and forth on this to have to put her in a home when she's old. The wedding was going to be a must. The type of wedding we had and everything was going to be an absolute must. I wasn't listening to going to a courthouse. I wasn't listening to about going to a beach. And the number one reason is because she's never been married before. And I felt like she should have the wedding that we could fucking afford. And it was an awesome wedding. And everyone who was there, they still talk about how great a wedding of it, that a great time they had and what a great wedding it was. And I wanted her to have that. And I'm glad. And I only bring up the first thing that she said to me when she turned around, not to rub it in her face, but I want her to remember what a fucking great day it was and a great time she had. And then her birthday, the 40th. 40th is big. 21's big, 40's big, 50's big. And so that was nothing like the wedding. There was only, 13 people here, whatever it was. What are you laughing at?
You're just like, there's only 13 people here.
And again, the mandate to the people who helped, Kat, and if some other folks, was go all out. Just give me the receipts of everything you spent. They bought a fucking a damn tank to blow up balloons. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with this damn thing. I still got it in the fucking guest room.
I think one is empty. You could probably just throw it away.
So it was it was a good day, and I again watching you sit with your few closest friends you wanted to kind of chat with. It was only like 4 of them, while everyone else kind of did their own thing or came over and ate food, and we had sushi and all that kind of good stuff.
Connor made sushi.
Yes, because you love sushi. Mm-hmm. It was a good evening, but you have to do things for, in my opinion. And now, if you were some shut in somewhere, no, I wouldn't, because you saw anybody, you'd be screaming hiding under a couch or something. But watching you, but going back to what you brought up, watching you develop into the person you are now with the relationships you have, with the women that you do, and watching you take this other step, which I don't know if you want to talk about on here or not, because we haven't talked about it. You trying to take this other step into another direction. It's just been something. It's just been something to kind of watch.
You might have to refresh my mind about the other
church.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that more in a little bit. We'll come back to that.
Okay. But watching you make these changes over time and grow and not be stagnant and not be the same person you were when I first met you when you were 25.
Yeah.
You know, that was at that time we drank more, we had a good time, and we just kind of partied even during the weekdays. And watch you go from that to the person who, you're still the same person from there to there, where you just kind of like to be by yourself and read your books and maybe have a few friends, and your reasoning why you only have a few friends is because, kind of going back to where we started, from shit you had to deal with and you remember going through when you were younger.
Yeah, it took me a long time to grow through that pain, to grow through, life experiences and to trust people. And I still struggle with it all the time. Mm-hmm. I still don't talk freely with people, and I still keep things very close to me. Like, there are things I just don't talk about, and I really don't let people that close to me until they've kind of shown me some consistency, and so, yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to tell just because you're close friends. You got to know everything about me.
Yeah.
So I think that's okay.
Yeah, I just don't talk openly about things. I'll be very superficial, not superficial, but very surface level. Mm-hmm. Sometimes women will be having conversation. They'll be like, yeah, I understand that, but not really divulging anything personal.
Well, I know you and I, obviously I'm not a part of these conversations. But, I know in the past you said, there's been people who, and I believe it because there's men who do it, who just want to bash their spouse.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm not going to be a party to that, even if you have something to, to share and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll sit and, joke about you, like poke fun at you sometimes.
About what? Wait a minute, I didn't hear about this part. What's going on now?
Well, I always joke. Like the other day when the guys were like, "Are you the big spoon or the small spoon?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "He's always the big spoon. He's by the door." Like.
Hold on, wait a minute. So with my friends, you'll talk.
Yeah,
shit.
but even like with the girls, we'll joke about things, but like I won't. I've never sat in a circle. Like, I would say none of the women that are my friends.
That's what you said?
We do not sit and bash our husbands. Yep, like, I can't even think of one bad thing about anybody's husband that I'm friends with.
And that's great because all of you have shit that you could say.
Absolutely.
On any given day. What you mean, absolutely?
I mean, we joke about stuff. Like,
right here.
I've joked about how, and we've talked about on the podcast, how you like leave all the doors open and drawers and cupboards and all of that, and like little stuff like that. But nothing about your character, nothing about somebody's character do we ever sit and.
You need to be joking about how you leave all the lights on.
We've already been through this.
Oh yeah,
I think it's like a lost cause. You're gonna leave doors open. I'm gonna have to close them. I'm gonna leave lights on. You're gonna have to turn them off.
Not a lost cause. Okay.
So it's what it is.
Before I had to put you in the home, you're gonna turn the lights off.
No, probably not. I like the room lit up. I don't like to walk into a dark room.
Scary ass.
You're probably hiding around a corner somewhere to jump out at me.
No, if there's anyone who's waiting to scare someone, it is you who's always trying
That's
to
because
sneak up
you're
on
never scared of anything, and it is hilarious to scare you.
You got me like, 3 times? Maybe. Okay. And I personally think you should stop because a couple of times you almost got punched in the face. Because I'm like, you better chill out, man. Creeping up from behind doors and shit. You said you wanted to circle back to the other thing? Yeah,
well, we kind of talked about it last week too, just the transition to church and stuff. But I do feel like I think there's just different seasons in my life, and I feel like we talked about last time, like I'm on this somewhat of a spiritual journey. I don't really know where that's taking me just yet, but I just am trying to find that the people in my life have meaning, and that they're respectful of that journey and of me. And so it's just like another growing phase for me as I transition through that. And it's nice. You like to joke about it because I always say, like, I'm not going to go to like a women's group, and you're like, you already have a women's group. Yeah, 100%. Because the women that I am really close with right now, we do tend to, talk about scripture and just are very positive with each other. And so we're always trying to uplift each other. And so it's kind of a new phase for me in my friendships.
Well, and I think it's a good thing because, again, going back, and hopefully we'll delve into this, you'll feel comfortable delving into this on one of the episodes. It's such a 180 from what you're used to and where you came from and what you experienced with people you were related to, and it's again, I sit back and I hate to keep saying it over and over, but I just marvel at where you were to where you are now, and just sitting back and being thankful that I'm not a controlling person where I'm like, okay, let me see how I can shift and guide this, and oh no, I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, she's got too many girlfriends, and that type of thing. Just seeing where you've gone from there to here. It's just been something, and obviously you're not done, but it's just been something to see.
Well, and I think it's gonna relate a lot to our next conversation. Like in my past relationship before you that I was in for years and years, from a teenager till I was in my early 20s, I didn't feel safe to have those friendships. Like, I think I had one girlfriend that I hung out with all the time, but anytime I went anywhere, there were accusations of like, what are you going to do? Who are you going to be with? Are you really with that person? It was like constant, like, fear of like going anywhere, being with anybody. And so looking back now, I can see that it was, very emotionally, mentally abusive, but I was also young and I was living through a pattern that I was used to. And so it's taken me a lot of years to grow past that and look back and see like, none of that. I've experienced all those things that I witnessed as a young woman, and I've lived through it as a young woman, and that's not what I want.
I sit, you and I have kind of talked about when we first were together and the reasons why it didn't work, and then, staying somewhat connected from 2,000 miles away, and then obviously getting back together 11 years ago. But I'm thinking back to you and your past. What you just got done saying made me think about my past and being a young teenager and being kind of jealous of with the girl I was dating at the time, and getting on the phone with my mom and saying, yeah, I'm this, that, and the other. I'm feeling this, that, and the other. And her thing just being, why? Yeah. Why are you feeling this? And I'm just like, well, why don't you understand? Well, there's no point in being jealous because you won't know anything about it till you're supposed to know about it. Yeah. No matter what you feel, you won't know.
It's like preemptive jealousy or something.
And before she was a Christian, this is the way she spoke. She said, her pussy doesn't change shape. Doesn't change depth. You can hear my mother say that. Said so.
I actually cannot.
Yo, you can't? You can't hear her say that?
I could not imagine your mom saying that.
But this is what she said. This is how she spoke to me about it. She said, so why be worried about you're not going to be able to tell the difference pretty much. Yeah. And sitting in the hallway outside my room on the phone with my mother, having this conversation, I immediately just was not a jealous individual anymore. Yeah. It just kind of, and I can remember being jealous because of something that happened in high school. But it was gone. And to fast forward to today, excuse me, for you to have gone through what you went through and that affected you, however it affected you, but you are a person who does not want that type of attention from me. You don't want me to be jealous. You don't want me to stand over the top of you and question everything is great, because that works with me, with who I am. Because there are women walking around who want you to be jealous all the time. They're looking for ways. They're looking to get it by the way they dress, by trying to have these relationships. Not saying that they're cheating necessarily, but trying to put that out there to try to make you upset. And I've seen guys get put in handcuffs
Yeah.
Based off of those type of games being played. So I'm just thinking about what you went through and how that set you on the path that you're on, and what I went through in that conversation set me on the path. I'm almost like, all right, very, very grateful.
Yeah.
In terms of that. If again, probably sounds a little convoluted to you guys listening, but if you guys understand what I'm saying.
I was thinking about that, just I think it was like a week ago where we were talking about something and I was like, you do realize I share my location with you in Google Maps, right? And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, every week I get a notification from Google that's like, you're sharing your real-time location with Sidney Smith. Do you still want to keep sharing this? And I just delete it because I'm like, I'm so comfortable with the fact that, like, that when I say I'm going somewhere, I'm going somewhere. And if I veer off that path, it's usually to like get frozen yogurt or to, stop at a teacher's store.
But I didn't even think it was still a thing though.
Still a thing.
Until you told me. I was like, and I remember you had put it on because I think it might have been the first time you ladies were going canoeing or hiking.
No, I was going hiking by myself. Okay. Just at the mountain close to our house. And I was going really early in the morning and you were nervous about it. Yeah. Because I'm not to throw anybody under the bus, but you were supposed to get up and go hiking with me, but you were out late the night before. So I was like,
so you're not throwing anybody under the bus.
I was like, I'll go by myself. And
so you're not throwing anybody under the bus? Is that what you did? Not to throw anybody under the bus.
I'm just saying there have been a few times you had told me you would go hiking with me, but then you don't get up in the morning. The thing is, you just don't want to go hiking, but you won't say to me, no, I don't want to go hiking.
That's not the thing. The thing is, I normally had something going on the night before. But folks, I'm going to let you guys in on something if you didn't pick up. My wife is everybody's coworker out there. And you know that person? Look, they get in the meeting, not to throw anybody on the bus, but Reggie was supposed to bring donuts, so that's why we didn't have coffee. So that I didn't think there was any reason because there was no donuts. Not to throw you under the bus, Reggie.
I'm just saying. But anyways, I shared my location with you, and I've just always kept it on there because I do know you worry. Like when I take trips to California, I'd usually drive by myself. Yeah. So I'm in the car 5 hours driving by myself, and and so I just keep it on there.
Well, I'm glad you reminded me. So now God forbid, but if I did, then now I know. Yeah, that was funny. Not to throw anybody under the bus, but
I'm throwing you under the bus because you always say we're gonna go hiking, but then somehow you end up not hiking. I
don't know
just saying.
First of all, after you throw the person under the bus, you don't get to come back and say, all right, well, fine, I'm gonna throw you under the bus. I'm already under the bitch.
Okay, well, I'm backing it up. Okay,
that's a little more accurate. Well, since you're under there, let me just put this in reverse and go over your body again. This is why I know anybody with a badge come knocking at the door. Not to let you answer.
I don't give you a hard time about it, though, because I know you don't enjoy being outside like I do. Like, being outside for me, it grounds me. So, like, I remember even during COVID, I would go for walks, and I'd be gone, like, a couple hours, and you'd call me, like, partway in, like, hey, you okay? Do I need to come pick you up?
Okay, so let's cover a couple things.
Yes.
One, when you were doing that, I was in this office working on something. So it wasn't like my feet were up and I'm just waiting for you to come back from fucking walk and take me little walks. Two, you do enjoy being out in nature more than I do. Mm-hmm. But I've told you several times, and this is where we go on it because I can't be planning everything. You want to go someplace on one of these little deals that you and the girls go on from time to time? I told you before to plan it. You have yet to plan anything. So I've been open to going on one of these little excursions with you where you can take pictures of flowers and rocks.
I'm partly afraid to take you on these because you're going to rush me through my picture taking of flowers.
It depends. Am I being attacked by a fucking...
See? A mosquito?
Or am I being attacked by... No. Are you kidding me? We do so many different things that
I hate bugs.
I do. But we do so many different things that I do not enjoy and you do. And I just let you go and just venture off. And I don't say a word. I put in my headphones and let you do your thing, would you stop? Would you stop?
You're right.
My point is, you don't get to keep saying that. If I've said to you, I'll go do that with you.
When it's not 115 degrees outside, I'll plan us
because it's not fair.
Because even right now to go, like when we went to Camp Verde last year at this time, it was hot. Like I'm surprised one of us didn't get like heat stroke because we went to Fossil Creek. I think it was a year ago today. A year ago today we went, and we parked pretty far from the waterfall, and so we were like, we're just gonna walk there. I think it was like 90 degrees, but when you're walking a few miles uphill, it's pretty hot. Mm-hmm. So we won't do that again. Yeah,
that'll be probably wise.
So maybe like
and none of you ladies
September.
Are 18, 19 years old.
No. We are not.
There's at least one of you older than you.
Yeah.
So y'all need to sit your asses down every once in a while. So they have to helicopter.
So I will plan something, but it's going to be closer to fall break time.
Oh, that's fine. Just plan it.
I will.
So you can stop talking about Sidney just won't. No, Sidney won't plan because normally I plan it. For people who don't know, I quarterbacked the damn wedding.
He did. He did a great job.
And I usually plan most things.
You do a good job at it.
Yeah.
It's not one of my.
No, I don't want to hear it. Don't use it to the
unless it's at work.
It pisses me off every time you say that because on one hand you do that shit right there, and then on the other hand, but you won't do anything with me that I like to do. But you won't plan anything that you want to do that you like to do, will you?
That's fair.
All right.
That's fair.
I'll play the damn recording.
Play the recording.
All right, guys. Again, you guys know what you're listening to. Tamra's going to play something here. I don't remember who found it, but she liked it and she wanted to talk about it.
Can I play it first and then say who it's by after? Because this is my first time doing this.
However you want to do it.
Okay. So here is a clip, and then I'll tell you who it's by afterward.
Respect over love.
So yeah, I see. You're laughing at me, huh? That's why I let you do it.
Twice on Sunday.
Okay. It's harder than it looks.
What a dick.
I'll try again.
Women don't accept the reality that men take respect over love. Absolutely. Any day. Mm-hmm. Any day. Every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Respect me before you love me. And then women position themselves where it's like, well, I'll take safety over love.
Damn. Mm-hmm. Safety, huh?
So as long as I feel safe with you, I don't have to be in love with you. Because I'll marry the man that I respect before I marry the man that I'm in love with.
You know what? Ooh. When you say that out loud,
she ain't lie.
That makes some sense.
Yeah, no, she didn't lie.
I have no rebuttals.
Because even the safety, immediately when you said safety, I'm like, no. In my head, I'm like, no, they want to marry somebody that's financially keeping them safe.
And it's so many different
protect.
It's so many different layers of safety.
But mine,
emotionally
keeping them safe.
But I don't have to be in love with my husband because I'm not going to always.
You're not going to always.
No. Yeah. But if I'm safe, where I'm going? I'm right here. A lot of women just found.
Oh. Okay. So that video comes from, I think it's maybe a podcast or an account called Real Motivational Vibes.
Okay.
So
that's a good one.
It is. And do you want me to go first?
Yeah, because I think that one you were going through some of those, and that one, for whatever reason, kind of spoke to you. Mm-hmm. You were like, I think I want to. So, yeah. If you have your thought ready to go, I guess. Which I assume you do.
Well, you wrote some things down. Do you want to share first?
No, I just wrote some stuff down and some titles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I listened to that first, I was like, I kind of didn't know how I felt about it, but I was like, that's actually true.
Okay.
Because, we've talked about in podcasts before, like, you're not always going to be in love.
Right.
Always. Like, you go in and out of, like, you love the person, you care about the person, but you're not always going to be in that in love, like, oh my gosh, all of that stuff. But it's, if you respect the person and you feel like me respecting you, like I respect you and I feel safe with you. Mm-hmm. Like I always know you're going to put all of those things, my emotional safety, my physical safety, all of those things first. Mm-hmm. Like I felt kind of weird listening to that the first time, but then I'm like, she's right. Because, you know, I thinking back, you know, because obviously I wouldn't have married the people I dated before because I did not feel safe with them in one way or the other. So it was just an interesting video for me.
I'm with you. I listened to it a couple of different times too, because I was like, I'm trying to vibe with this. I'm trying to hear this as a man. Would I rather you respect me than love me? And because I never thought about it before.
Yeah.
Not in terms of my spouse, not in terms of you. Mm-hmm. I thought about it in terms of my business. I've thought about it in terms of people who've worked for me. I've thought about it in terms of that. Yeah, you're gonna respect me. I don't give a shit if you like me. I don't give a shit if you love me. You're gonna respect me. And I guess to a certain extent, I would definitely agree with that because, again, we've talked about it before. She stated it. You're not always going to be in love with me. I know there's going to be days where you're like, this man is getting on my last nerve. Yeah. But the respect has to be there. And I wouldn't let this continue on, excuse me, without it. So 100%, I think I would rather, if we're going just based off how she verbalized it, if there's only going to be one or the other, I would rather you respect me than love me. But at the same time, can you have respect without the love?
I think you can.
Or is respect is because it's easy to say, looking at someone else's relationship, like she or he does not respect that other person, but they seem to love each other.
I think about it this way. Like, let's say you and I were not married and we were just acquaintances. I would respect you still. Okay. And I do respect other people. Like, there are other people I respect. But the difference is, I think because when you just said it a few minutes ago, you're going to respect me. I don't think that's quite the same in marriage. Like, when... Obviously, because last time we talked about, you know, being an obedient wife and all of that kind of stuff, which I'll have to tell you later. I brought up in therapy. We'll have to talk about that another time. But when we talked about that, that is a form of respect. But also there's the respect of, I respect you enough as a person to help you pursue your dreams, or I respect you enough as a person to know, like, you're going to make decisions that are going to protect this marriage, whether we're in that in love state or not. It's not just I respect you, I'm going to do everything that you say or everything that you want. It's a different kind of respect, I think. I don't know. Yeah, but
I think we're talking about two different things. I mean, we have seen, or at least I've seen, married people who, in my eyes, and I'm speaking from a male point of view, she doesn't respect him as a man. Yeah. But for some reason it seems to work because maybe they still love each other. But for me, that the level of respect she displays to him, not enough in my eyes as a man. But they somehow still manage to stay together for whatever reasons. And I assume there's got to be some type of love there. And that's what I'm saying. Can there be love there? And if you don't respect the person, is that real love? I mean, do the two have to go together, or is it on a case by case basis, depending on what that person wants?
I think it could be on a case by case basis because I'm like kind of nervous to say this, but there are people in my life that I love, but I don't particularly respect.
Yeah, but we're talking about in a relationship as a couple, right?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think. So I'm trying to think outside of a relationship how that works. I don't know. Like, there's got to be something else tying you together, whether it's like guilt or duty, like maybe you have kids together and you're just, I don't know. I find that really hard. Like I would feel like if someone didn't feel respected, like they wouldn't want to be in a relationship, and they're either staying because they're guilting themselves into staying, or they're afraid to leave, or something.
And for people out there, I completely ghosted on this, but you can actually send us a text message to let us know if you like us, if you hate us, or whatever. Be respectful, I would ask, even if you disagree with us, if you want to send that text message. But if you go onto your screen there, you should see a link above the description of this pod, of this episode, that you can click on and send us a text message. And let us kind of know what you think about the pod.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a new thing. And I said, hey, let's try it. And, if people just send us stuff that's rude, and then I'll shut it off because I don't want to be reading that every week. If you have something really nice to say or something really insightful or one way or the other, whether you agree or disagree, maybe we'll shout it out on the next podcast. So just kind of keep that in mind. Well,
and for myself, like I always respect the fact that there are people who have lived through things and have more experience than me in some things. And so I'm always open to hear new ideas or views of something, because I do understand that the way you interpret things is a lot of times based on your view of where you sit, where you come from, so I'm always open to that.
Yeah, and I'm open to it as well. I just always like to make sure I tell people, be respectful if you're going to disagree.
I'm really good at ignoring people. So if you're not respectful, I'm gonna ignore it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna block it or whatever. So, but I assume that if you listen to this podcast, you're gonna be respectful. Yeah. But just for there's so many trolls out there. Let me just send this because no one will know that it's me and that type of shit. Anyway. But going back to our discussion, I don't know if you can, man, I'm just sitting here just trying to figure this out as a man, because in our marriage, I don't think I've ever had to question this.
I was trying to think about it as the side of a woman, because in the video it talks about how women will choose safety over love. And
I can see that, and I believe that to be true.
But I see both of them, and I think both are true. But I also have seen women who don't feel safe stay in situations. And that point, I feel like they're staying out of fear. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. That's a difficult one, because you have to really know yourself and your worth, and be willing to walk away from some big things in your life to get to that place where you feel respected and safe.
I used to, in the early parts of my career, do this bit about attractive women that you would see at the mall walking around with men who were not attractive. Yeah. And the people are always like, how the fuck did he get her? And then I would go through if you follow them, go see what stores they go to, see that he carries the bags, go follow them to the parking lot, see what type of vehicle they probably get in, follow them home, and see what type of home they live in. And the whole premise of it, when you got to the end of it, was this, that a woman wants safety more than she wants love. I think women want it no matter what age. Sometimes it depends on what they've been taught. There's some women who grow up with mothers who teach them, you go for the safety over the love. And this is the way they carry themselves. And I think this is a lot of times why you have seen women get themselves into trouble, because you end up with men who really don't respect you, who really don't care about your welfare, because they feel like I'm paying the cost to be the fucking boss, and you need to just listen if you want to keep this lifestyle going. But then I've also seen it for women who've been married once or twice, and then the second or third time they're getting married, because it was something that I had heard for men say to men. The first time you marry for love, the second time you marry for money. Mm-hmm. and so that is a thought process that has been shared many times over time after time after time.
I'm trying to also think about the safety aspect of it. And so they talked about financial safety. They talked about physical safety. Mm-hmm. They talked about mental well-being. Mm-hmm. I even feel like if one of those was missing, it would be hard to stay committed in not committed, but just like to stay all in a relationship.
You mean hard for you, or mean hard in general?
Like, I know for me, if one of those was missing, mm-hmm. I would probably struggle. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like, because I feel like if you feel unsafe in one area, me personally, if I feel unsafe in one area of that whole thing, like I might start questioning or struggling with other areas of our relationship. But you do a really good job of like protecting all of me, you know, like you make sure you check in on my mental well-being. You're always making sure I'm like physically safe. Like I can't think of an area where you're not mindful of my safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And well, I think a lot of that comes from me, from growing up in a family mostly reared by women, and seeing a lot of stuff that they went through, my mother and other women, what they went through with some of the men that they had in their lives. And then having conversations with them over the years and trying to figure, like and you know this, I'm a very inquisitive person. I love to sit back and just watch people in general when they don't know they're being watched, and trying to figure things out and see how they move. And for people out there, and I used to tell you this all the time, early in our relationship, you know, do less talking and more just watching and listening. And I think you figure out more and you learn more that way. So that has just always been something I've been very purposeful in doing. And with that, I think I've been able to figure out a lot of things when it comes to women. And that helps me now when it comes to you. Yeah. You know, and not to mention my own mistakes that I've made. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't make any mistakes. I made a ton of mistakes in relationships with women. And I haven't always been, you know, the best boyfriend or the best guy that I could have been.
I mean, me as well. I mean, it takes growing, you know, once you kind of lose, thinking of like men who have been, once you lose respect for a man in your life, you start to move a different way. You start to speak a different way, and it's just not healthy.
Move a different way, speak a different way. How? In terms of what?
Like, I mean, I'm just thinking like my past relationship where I wasn't kept.
And please be as general as you want to be.
Yeah, like I didn't always say where I was going. Okay. You know, I was like a very secretive about things. I spoke to them in a way that I wouldn't consider respectful, but I didn't feel like I was being respected or being kept safe.
Was this in relationships between the long-standing relationship and our relationship? You mean those men that you dated at that time? Or?
No, I'm thinking specifically that relationship.
Okay, gotcha.
Because, you know, there was a lot of growing. I think we were together from 15. I think I was 15 until I was 24 and a half. Yeah. So, like, I met you right after that. And so we kind of joke. You like to joke about how, you know, I was out in the streets or something, you say, which is not the case. But I wasn't ready for a relationship after that. Like, I needed time to grow and heal. And yeah.
Well, I also say, and I do joke with you, like, yeah, just out and run the streets. But seriously speaking about it, I wasn't as ready. Looking back, I wasn't as ready for for you and I as I thought I was looking back. Yeah. And so, you know, at the time, it was a real blessing for you to have. I mean, you were kind of honest about it, but you weren't at the same time. You just kind of, I don't know, disappeared for a period of time. But at least however it happened, I mean, we didn't make a huge mistake at that point in time.
Yeah. I think I've always tried to be respectful of people, though. Like, even to this day, like when you and I sit and talk about like my past relationships, things like that, I don't ever badmouth people, because I think also I take into consideration, like, we were young, we were kids, and you know, you kind of, I feel like in your first relationship, you go with what you've learned. And that's why I'm always concerned for young people when they get into these relationships and they want to marry like the first person they're with. And I know it can be possible, but it takes a lot to grow into that. So,
yeah. And I go back and I revisit relationships that I've been in, and some of the ups and the downs and the personalities of those women versus your personality now, and their interest versus your interest, and how I manage those situations, how I manage this. And I really try to because I'm a huge believer in, that you are, if you look at it, you're pretty much repeating things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And based off how well you do, almost like taking a class, based off how well you do in that fucking class, do they let you go from, English 101, to, advanced English or whatever, however you want to look at it. And so I am constantly always trying to think back to, okay, how does what I'm thinking with you today compare to maybe if there is something then, and how did I handle it then? And was it good then? Because if it was, okay, then maybe I'll try it this way, but it wasn't good then. So I won't treat it that way, even though my first inclination is to treat it that way.
Yeah.
And so, I think it is always about living and learning. And I don't know if you can say that often enough for a lot of people, because I think people forget that what life is about at the end of the day is about living and learning.
Yeah. So just as like a kind of a final thought on that video, like, so you would choose respect over love? I'm just wondering, because like we've kind of like danced around it, but like we haven't really said like.
Well, no, I mean just the way you say things, like you're interviewing me. So
I am.
So as a final thought, before we go to our final commercial break, and then you'll talk for 20 more fucking minutes. Well, I don't know. Yeah, respect me. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have some serious problems around here. And again, because I don't think in love is an everyday thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible.
I'm going to have to listen to it again later just because
No. You don't get to listen to it again later.
No, because I don't quite remember if she said in love or if they would choose love.
She does get to a point where she does say in love
okay.
does not last. She starts out with love over respect.
Mm-hmm.
And then she advances her thought with, because I know being in love is not an everyday thing. You're not going to be in love every day.
So then I would have to agree.
With what? Safety?
Yeah.
Of course you would agree. I mean, I don't know a woman out there who just, unless she doesn't care about her safety, is going to disagree with that.
I mean, there's some women who maybe live on the edge.
And I say it, unless she doesn't, but 99.9% of women are going to take safety.
Yeah.
Whether it be financial, emotional, mental, whatever it is going to be safety. And that is definitely one thing I guess I have learned over the years. Women care about that more than anything else. I would say women care about safety more than respect. That's the real question. Would you take safety over respect if you're a woman? And that's a real one. Roxy, if you listen to this, or Mary, or anyone that are regular listeners, I would love for you guys, and anyone else, obviously, I would love for you guys to text us by going ahead and hitting that link above the description of this episode. See,
I don't think you can have safety without respect.
No?
I really don't.
I disagree with you.
I think if you are disrespecting somebody or don't have respect for somebody, you're making them feel unsafe in some way. Whether it's verbally, like mentally unsafe.
I think it's completely in the ear or the heart of the beholder in that. I think if a woman's prime objective is to have financial safety, she will forsake all other things. I think if they're just focusing on one area of safety, and if their goal is to have financial safety, they'll take disrespect over anything. But that's why I've never been a money chaser, because I don't like people to have something to hold over me, and whether that's anything really. I've never wanted to be in a situation where somebody can say, this is mine. I wanted them to, I don't know, like because I like the respect, because. Got your ass. No, it goes together. In my web. I feel like it goes together. It does not go together. It does not. I don't know. For me, it would have to be together. I couldn't do one without the other, because I know there are some women who could go for the money and could care less about all the other things, but for me, I couldn't do it. I mean, lack of respect can be shown in other ways as well. Even if they are giving you the other type of safety, whether it be emotional or whatever. But
I need all areas of safetyness in my life.
Well, I'm doing the best I can over here. So
it's just you're just gonna have to respect and keep me safe.
What's your coupon at? You got a coupon or something here? Because
I'll pay you $6.
Oh, now we want to pay the $6. Now we want to kick it up. Hey guys, this has been Running in Slow Motion. Thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate it. Again, as another reminder, go ahead and click that link if you guys want to send us a message about what you felt about the podcast, or maybe just share your thoughts. We would love to read them. Be respectful if you disagree, but we are always up for listening or reading from thoughts of people who agree or disagree with us, for sure, 100%.
Yep.
Okay. This is if you understand how I feel like I'm doing a podcast alone sometimes, please go ahead and send that.
I do that to you on purpose.
I know you do. Send that message as well. We would most heavily appreciate it. If you enjoyed the podcast, as we always like to say, please go ahead and give us a 5-star rating. Share it with someone that you think would enjoy it as well. Leave my flip-flop alone. If you hate the podcast, please send it to everybody that you hate. Let them hate it too.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, this has been Running in Slow Motion. I am Sidney Smith.
And I am Tamra Smith.
You guys have yourself a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. Talking about